If you had the good fortune to live in the Dakota, would you be a traditionalist like Lauren Bacall, or would you decorate your apartment in a modern fashion like Roberta Flack did? After a series of hits in the mid-1970s, Roberta Flack moved to the Dakota in 1976. Her apartment was located on the south side of the building, overlooking West 72nd Street. She caused quite a bit of controversy when she renovated her apartment by removing many of the original 19th century design elements, disregarding the ornate woodwork and intricate moldings, and modernizing it with sleek lines, modern materials, and covering the historic wood-paneled walls with mirrors. This approach was at odds with the building's historic aesthetic, and it upset preservationists and some fellow residents who value the Dakota's unique architectural legacy. Many believe that living in such a historic building came with a responsibility to maintain its character, and they were disappointed that Roberta chose to prioritize modernity over tradition. Her notable neighbors included John Lennon and Yoko Ono, who lived to the east of Roberta Flack, and who also decorated their main apartment in a modern way. In 2018, Roberta Flack sold her apartment for $5.8 million after having listed it for $9.6 million in 2015. The amount she paid for it in 1976 is unknown, but it was probably roughly about $150,000. The new owners merged it with a unit to the southwest, which restored the original footprint of one of the Dakota's original 65 units. So, what do you think? To what extent should the personal preferences of a homeowner be balanced against the historical and cultural significance of the property? How does altering original design elements affect the historical integrity and overall value of a historically significant building like the Dakota? Should there be community or regulatory standards in place for renovations in historically significant buildings to ensure preservation of the unique characteristics? Do you think modernizing historic properties increases or decreases their financial worth? How should the value of traditional craftsmanship and artistry be weighed against the desire for contemporary comfort and design? Do residents of historically significant buildings have a cultural responsibility to maintain the original aesthetics and craftsmanship? Why or why not? How do you think the other residents of the Dakota and the broader community feel about such changes, such as modernizing apartments in such a way? Should their opinions influence renovation decisions for their neighbors in co-ops, where all the residents collectively own the buildings where they live? What do you think are the long-term implications for historical preservation if modern renovations become the norm in historic buildings? How would you feel if you lived in an apartment that was built in 1884 and you did everything you could to preserve its original architectural elements, and your neighbors showed utter disregard for the same? Which way would you go? In the comments below, kindly let me know your thoughts about preserving historical integrity versus allowing personal expression and modernization in historically significant properties. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.